Hello, everyone. I forgot the intro music is much shorter than my other one. Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of words, recorder videos, and tabletop role-playing aficionado. Welcome to Crafting Dragonlance, where I build, write, and prepare for our next session of Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, which I'm currently running for platinum level patrons of patreon.com/RogueWatson. This is the crafting episode for session number 15 of our campaign. If you are a patron playing in this campaign, then this stream is not meant for you. Instead, I will see you on Thursday, or I'll see you whenever the video gets uploaded if you're not in the session. For our campaign, we use Roll20.net. For streaming, I use OBS Studio. You can also support the channel by shopping for your tabletop games, CCGs, miniatures, RPGs, supplies, and more are sponsored. Noble Knight Games using my affiliate link, and of course at patreon.com/RogueWatson. So, it's been a hot minute since I even thought about Dragonlance, although I have thought about D&D since I've been gone, because we actually ran the Stranger Things starter set physical tabletop game last week, which was the week of New Year's. So if you're listening these or binge watching, listening, whatever, just know that this is like I'm just coming back from the holiday break, so I'm still Happy New Year for everyone, and I'm good to be back. Although I sort of never left, but we are rolling right into running a patron game this week, which may be a bit ambitious for me, given that like literally this is the first school night we've had for my kids in whatever it's been 2.5 weeks or something. Also, we've got a new microphone, so hopefully things sound okay. This was a Christmas gift. For me, this is the HyperX Quadcast 2. I previously had the HyperX Quadcast 1, I guess, OG, which now my wife is using, so she got an upgrade. So hopefully everything sounds okay and levels are fine. I kind of messed around with it a little bit on Sunday when we did Baldur's Gate 3, and everything seemed to sound pretty good. So the party has completed basically the first half of the Northern Wastes chapter, which is the big hex crawl open world chapter, which can be a little daunting compared to the other chapters, but I like it for a change of pace. I don't know. It's not like the prominent main part of the campaign like the Jungles of Cholt are or anything, but I think it offers just enough of that kind of wild land exploration. I wish there were more encounter tables. I think we're going to end up exhausting all of them, and I'm probably still going to search for some more, but also I'm not a big encounter guy. And by the time we're doing this, the party, having completed the first 3 locations, really they've done 5 locations technically, because Wrecker's Edge, when they first arrive, is a location, and the Elven Encampment, where they met Dalamar and the Elves, is also technically a location. So they did those 2, and then they did the 3 actual dungeon locations of Blue Phoenix Shrine, Sunward Fortress, and Wakenwrath. And after all that, they will receive a long rest. I guess they will talk to Dalamar. I kind of teased Dalamar at the end of the last session, I think. And Dalamar will reveal the location where the Lost City is located, which is interesting that they get it this sort of early, but it's so far away that I think it works out that we will still kind of forcibly do at least our other 2 main locations on the way, which is the Heart's Hollow town and Camp Carrion Clay, which is the Red Dragon Army. Now, I'm still in talks with my players as of right now to figure out where exactly they want to go next. I am going to lean toward them heading towards Heart's Hollow, because they have Roan with them, and so far they've been very receptive and amiable toward their NPCs, which has been very refreshing for me compared to my Friday gang, frankly. And he is from Heart's Hollow, so they would like to probably escort him back home, and he can help them kind of navigate around and everything. So I'm thinking that's where they will go next. And also, it's just nice to reach, a town, I think, after all this. Although, I've been giving them long rests, and they've been able to resupply because of their army, and they may want to do some more scouting on the encampment and everything else, which is still quite a ways away to the north. So I think they're kind of equidistant right here. It's like a triangle formation, so they could go to either location, but once they go to one, the other one is just barely over a day away, which is kind of dangerous for Heart's Hollow, but I guess they're actually a well-hidden town, which is cool because it looks like... Oop, that was a very loud motorcycle going down the street. It's built into this crater. So, like, I guess when the water floods, it just kind of all floods into the crater, and everybody just sees, like, the backside of water in a waterfall, which is kind of nifty. And I'm effectively replacing the NPC Klystran with Roan, because they kind of have the same role, and it just happened that the party was able to save Roan from Sunward Fortress. So Roan instead will be the one who's lived his entire life in the Northern Ways, considers himself an expert in the region. I actually don't know if Klystran is also the scout stat block. I think he is. Yeah, that is the scout stat block. Okay, so I haven't used the same stat block for him. Although, dang, I didn't know Roll20 gave him a token. I would have used that token instead. Man, that's a better token. Art. Oh well. So Klystran's whole thing is he has his own location of the Dragonlance Spire, but there's not really anything to do there. And I think Tessa's maps does provide me with a map for it, but it's a very minor mini quest. And I don't know at this point if we need to be doing too many, like, just random ass fetch quests. Like, if this was like an actual video game and we're just padding for content, then sure, we can do all that and take a pause on, like, the dragon army in the area searching for the lost city and everything. But in D&D, I don't know, that never really sits too well for me. At least this, once we're getting this much later in the game, later in the story, really, and it feels narratively weird to just give the party some kind of just random bullshit fetch quest. But instead, if we can make it like an encounter on the way to a location, I think that's a lot more of an efficient use of our time, and also helps break up the party's resources. Although it's still tricky because they're going to come off a level up and a long rest from Wakenrath, and then if they head to Heart's Hollow, it's a town, so they can just get another long rest there. So unfortunately, we're looking at another situation where they may just have like one encounter a day, which I realize has been kind of fucking up my balance a little bit. We did do, I think, Blue Phoenix Shrine and Sunward Fortress in one long rest, which felt really good, and the party was really hurting by the end of Sunward Fortress. But then they long rested and was able to do all of Wakenrath within a single long rest, and they felt very strong in that one, although they also just played it very well. And now I think a similar occurrence is going to happen. But Heart's Hollow should be like one of their last, like, legit long rests they get for a while. Hopefully, they'll probably need to get one after Carrion Clay, but I mean, it's a town, so I can't really stop them from long resting there, I think. But his thing is that he wants to, let's see, 12 Wasteland Dragonelles layer atop a rock formation, which looks like a dragon. This is a whole other location, by the way. It's like a 2 days travel west of Heart's Hollow, but I can move that. Formations like this are common in the wastes, as if the spirits of the dragons killed during Anyari's fall reshaped the land. The Dragonelles avoid the characters unless Klystran is with them. Klystran respectfully lays out the dried meat he brought for the Dragonelles and watches them from a distance. So it's not even anything. It's just you get to see a bunch of Dragonelles. I thought it'd be kind of cool if maybe we can combine the a random encounter with the Dragonelles. In fact, I might even be able to combine like the Red Dragon Army, maybe capturing Dragonelles. I just recently watched Avatar, so I'm reminded of like having a enemy force like subduing and fucking up the local the local population, including getting maybe some new mounts. Let's see, Dragon Army patrols. Yeah, so we haven't used the Dragon Army patrol yet table at all. Oh yeah, I was gonna use the malfunctioning gate at some point too. I don't know when to use that one. It is kind of a cool location. But if it's near Heart's Hollow, I feel like Roan would know about it. So maybe that should be after Heart's Hollow. We've used the wash before, which you can still use the wash a little bit sparingly, though, because the one encounter we did with it was it ended up taking like half the session, I think. Otherwise, there are the Wasteland Predators, which is these, which we've used giant scorpions and giant spiders. Yeah, Wasteland Dragonelles is just one of them that I could use as an encounter. So it could be that they... I don't know why Roan would take them through a Wasteland Dragonelle thing, or maybe he just knows, like, oh shit, they're hunting in this area, we need to bunker down or something. And it's a cool stat block. They're like... kind of like wyverns, but I think a little weaker, and they don't have the wyvern. Actually, do have a pretty interesting acid spit attack. They have 2 rend attacks, or they can do their acid spit as a 5d6 range attack, which is pretty solid. And they have the like awesome flying disengage, which is that they don't provoke opportunity attacks when they fly out of an enemy's reach, which makes them a super pain in the ass actually as a flying creature. They can just swoop down, rend, swoop away, or they can fire their acid at 60 feet. Oof. A bunch of those would be nasty. Nasty indeed. Otherwise, you can do it when the tide is high and throw Marrow, Plesiosaurus, giant sharks in there, which could be interesting. But the most interesting thing is probably going to be a combination, is going to be like the most Dragonlance-y stuff, which is the Wasteland Dragonel. I got to use these Wasteland Dragonels in some way, because it's like where they come from, and the fact that I believe the Dragon Army is actually able to use them, because we've seen them be used as a rider before, kind of like a little biplane almost, when they jump on there, and when the dragon officer guy at the, oh gosh, what was the place? It was near the end of chapter 4. Wheel Watch Outpost. That was the location where they actually had one, located in W8 stable. Yeah, Dragon Army, Dragonel, and its rider, a Dragon Army officer. Which is, oh, interesting. The Dragon Army Dragonel does not have the acid spit attack, but it does have the barding that increases its AC to 16. Also has slightly less hit points. That's, okay. But its rend attack does extra fire damage. Okay, so it is kind of a slightly modified stat block compared to what they are. So they haven't fought the true Dragonels yet. So that could be a cool battle. Are these things, they're typically chaotic good? Yeah. So I'm thinking the most interesting way to use them, actually, would be if they came across like the Dragon Army trying to like capture these guys, and then they can decide how they want to intervene. And Roan can even be like, I really want to stop this from happening, and, you know, fuck these guys. These creatures are, you know, amazing and cool. And the party can spring into action. But then the Dragonels would definitely not necessarily have care about friendly fire either. They would be, you know, probably just furious and hitting everybody, which could be interesting. And then for the Dragon Army, we've got several different kind of patrols we could use, which includes, yeah, in fact, we could even have an officer riding a Dragonel. So maybe they do something to, like, I don't know, imprint on them. So that could even turn into a whole little like boss fight area. Honestly, that could be a cool thing to do. If they come across them maybe like halfway in there. Do I have a good map for that? So this is me trying to turn basically one of the locations, which is Dragonel Spire, into just kind of a random encounter that they find along the way, versus getting like a separate mission to go there. So this one, which is, boy, this is a tricky map to read. So this is like this is from Tessa's Presents Maps. It looks like a giant kind of rock mountain thing in the shape of a dragon skull, which is neat. Atop this rock formation, which looks like a dragon. It's 12 of them layer atop it. Okay, so I guess these are supposed to be like nests and not. I'm thinking it's not hollow then, because that'd be too confusing for Roll20 purposes. This is all. I wonder if there's an elevation change here, probably. Which, that's enough room to have a battle. You could do that. And have more of them, like, just have them flying around. Dragonel's just upset, like, circling or something. That could be a really cool encounter for the party to come across, actually. Or you could do it down here, have the battle. Let's see, into the wastes. We can use a combination. Let's see, you can have a dragon, probably like one officer with one Dragonel, like flying around, keeping the others at bay, while some soldiers and Draconians like capture the Dragonels with nets. And then I don't know how they turn them into loyal mounts. There must be some kind of like, I don't know, something they're doing to him. Maybe it's like the helmets they're putting on him or something. Like the old school Dino Riders cartoon back in the 80s that I was obsessed with. Where the good guys could just kind of bond with the dinosaurs, but the bad guys had to like put them in like this super evil like techno armor. And then that turned them evil and their little eyes glue red. Boss Draconians, Civac Draconians, and Capac Draconians, and any combination of soldiers and officers. So we could have a big old fight there, and the party could even, come across them and try to like do some stealth stuff. 'Cause I think that's also a cool opportunity when the party gets a chance to plan and prep, and that gives them a huge advantage as well. So that could be a pretty neat encounter for between where they are now to reaching Heart's Hollow is some combination of a Dragon Army patrol plus, I guess I'm technically using one of the Wasteland Predators one, which is Wasteland Dragonels, but kind of inspired by the Dragonel Spire. So we could even use this map and have there be a shit ton of Dragonels here. But like the army has found this nesting place, and that's how they're like grabbing these guys and using them for their own purpose. Unfortunately, what it doesn't say is if the party manages to capture one of these soldiers. I'm sure they would do, because these guys are pretty smart that way. It says if the characters are defeated or surrender, they're taken as prisoners to Camp Carrion Clay. What happens if inevitably the soldiers are defeated and they are captured? What would they know? So that could be really interesting, because they could get some really important information about Camp Carrion Clay that I may not be wanting to share yet. But again, if the party's smart enough to capture somebody alive, they could do that. I could have a Dragonel come in and spit acid, and they're like, oops, sorry, your guy got killed. I mean, I want to reward them for good play, I guess. It just puts more pressure on me to do research on the other big location that they could go to and make sure that I've got some like basic stuff I could tell them about this this campsite. Which, fun fact, has a cool encounter with a damn adult goddamn dragon. Which I think is a black dragon, if I remember. Yeah. Akaviri. An adult black dragon. That's badass. So we got that, and then we've got Heart's Hollow. Which I guess, is this probably the best map? I do like this map. Oh, and they also technically get a quest after from Dalamar after he does his ritual as well. Because it says, conferring with Dalamar, which is where we'll start the session. Dalamar takes an hour to investigate the portal. Wakenworth was clearly built elsewhere and somehow fell here. It's literally like the Lost Spire of Netheril, where in Rime of the Frost Maiden. He believes he can use the portal's magic to pinpoint where Wakenworth originally stood. Then he does his research. Blah, blah, blah. Dalamar needs 24 hours to evaluate information and complete his research. Afterward, he directs the characters to a mesa at the northern edge of the wastes called the Giant Spine, where he believes they'll find the City of Lost Names. But it is weird that he's willing to conclude his business with the characters after finding this lost city that supposedly Dalamar want to find as well. That part is strange to me and feels like a weird exit for a very important character that is also supposedly searching for these things. Maybe I can have Dalamar show up again in some capacity towards the end. It does feel like just a total cameo thing. He does want the party to investigate another magic source, which is kind of crazy after they just did 3. And he asked the characters to escort him there, which is the location of J. Dreadwolf Cove. But I'm not a huge fan of this location. First of all, the timing of it is weird. Like, we just did our big quest for Dalamar, now you're saying, oh, by the way, take me up to this location. And presumably, since he's with them, he wants them to go there immediately. Because he's a freaking mage stat block, you don't want to keep him with the party. That's terribly unbalancing. But if they do go there, they go straight up here to J, which is very close to where the Camp Carrion Clay is. And on the other side of Heart's Hollow. So it really takes them to a place I'm not keen on them going. And the location's not that good anyway. And they fight literally the same creature they just fought, who was horribly got its ass kicked at the end of Wakenwrath. He was my big undead boss, the Ankalox. He was supposed to burst through and provide a big-ass boss fight. Instead, he just kind of whimpered and got his ass kicked. The Cove, which doesn't also have its own map. There's just all kinds of negatives to this location. Is lightly obscured by fog. If the characters enter the cave, they encounter a wolf-like Enkalok. Should the characters battle the monster, Dalamar does aid them. Which, fun fact, I was going to have Dalamar aid them at the end of Wakenwrath, but didn't need it because they kick so much ass. They find the source of the fog. They find a destroyed Orb of Dragonkind, which is kind of a cool like nod to Dragonlance lore, I guess. Dalamar recognizes the shard immediately, pretends not to. Discovering the shard, Dalamar parts ways with the characters because he wants to take the shard. So I guess that's what gives Dalamar his out. So I think I'm going to ignore all that. I don't like any of it. We're going to drop Dreadwolf Cove completely, and I think we're going to give Dalamar an out by just saying that he wants to stay and study Wakenwrath some more, bring his elves up here. They've got a lot more work to do. They would certainly like to, I don't know, just stay and check this out, basically, and they don't have the power like the players do to assault the Red Dragon army directly. So he'll kind of wish them good luck and remain behind. I think the party will be hopefully satisfied with that. But it also gives me an out, technically, if Dalamar wants to pop up at some point, then I could have him do that. So we're going to ignore J. G is Heart's Hollow. H, the Dragonel Spire. I think we're going to use that as an encounter. That leaves us with 3 other locations, which is Bluemaw Cave at F, Camp Carrion Clay, which we are going to use that one, and then the City of Lost Names, which is technically a different chapter, but also does have a little bit of a section to getting to it once they reach the location of K. Bluemaw Cave, the only annoying thing about it is that it's located in the exact opposite direction where the City of Lost Names is. So it's kind of a real pain in the ass to go down there, versus it would provide a nice break of action because best case scenario, let's see, every 2 hexes is a day, so 1, 2, 3. It's a 3-day journey to the City of Lost Names, and it would be nice to break that up with something which could be Bluemaw Cave, which I don't remember exactly how that one works. I think they're finding dwarves there, but I believe they actually get the quest from Heart's Hollow. Otherwise, I don't think there's a lot of quest content in Heart's Hollow. I think they just can meet some NPCs and kind of just do some shopping and stuff, so I don't know how much content is here, because yeah, Clystrand we're replacing with Roan, they've already got, so they're not going to do any of that at Heart's Hollow. Most structures are carved out of the wall of a deep crater. Detail the community of Heart's Hollow however you please. Breakwater Landing serves as the town square. I guess I could switch the actual map of Heart's Hollow, which is there. Which it is a cool map. Very psychedelic flooring for some reason. Let's see. N's Odds is a hill dwarf who sells slightly used goods and equipment found in the wastes. The fort, Secrecy, is Heart's Hollow's greatest defense. The town also maintains the fort, a communal warehouse and armory. Lavenders by Lavender Jawls, a renegade wizard who hasn't taken the test of high sorcery, specializes in casting helpful cantrips, brewing alchemical tinctures. So maybe they can get some potions here? Might be a good opportunity for shopping. The Mosaic, spiraling through Heart's Hollow, is the Mosaic. Oh, okay, I actually pointed that out. A sloped pathway lined with colorful stones. Every person who visits the village is invited to add a stone to the path. That's cute. The Salt Lick is a popular tavern suspended over open air by a web of sturdy cords. Oh, I thought that was... Wait, how is that Lavender's? I thought that was the Salt Lick. Oh, there it is. Okay. Lavender's also has like the craziest location. Like literally suspended over this freaking chasm. Are you kidding me? Heart's Hollow's residents are mainly humans, dwarves, and Kender. Many feel they were given a second lease on life when they were rescued from the waste or found their way here. Nezra's desire to keep her community a secret from other dragons has rubbed off on the residents and are wary of strangers. Yeah, so they're going to find that not everybody is actually as capricious and friendly as Roan is. The secretive dragon Nezra, who's really an adult bronze dragon, goes by the name Ness, uses her magic to disguise herself as a middle-aged human woman. It's a very common thing in the Dragonlance universe, by the way, is dragons having magical disguises as humanoids and just walking around and chilling for like a long-ass time, and nobody knows they're actually dragons, which is kind of cool. And no one knows she's a dragon, yep. Nezra has made it her life mission to build and protect Heart's Hollow. Over 100 years ago, she came to the Northern Ways seeking clutches of good dragon eggs hidden in the region. She hasn't found any yet. Although she focuses on protecting the people of Heart's Hollow, she hopes to find Dragon eggs in the waste one day. So that could be sort of a quest, although one that I don't know if the party can actually do, because I believe they're also after dragon eggs in the Red Dragon army because they turn those eggs into Draconians. Hearts Hollow serves as a safe place for the characters to rest and resupply in the Northern Waste. The locals also know much about the region. People of Hearts Hollow don't know where the City of Lost Names is and have avoided the Dragon Army. They know the location of all the places the players have been. Interesting. A group of scavengers have heard of Blue Maw Cave, an out-of-the-way cavern where they've spotted dwarves living. They'd like to meet the dwarves and perhaps establish a friendly rapport. If the threats in the cave have not yet been defeated, the scavengers encourage the characters to clear them out, but they won't participate in combat themselves. That's weird that there's not a proper NPC who actually gives them this quest. It just says a group of scavengers. That's really lame. Why not just have Nezra be the main NPC point of contact here? I mean, who doesn't want to roleplay as a secret adult bronze dragon? So I'm thinking that could be a quest. I think I like the Blue Maw Cavern location. The Dragon Army leader Belephon recently identified the place of possible dragon's lair and sent Draconians to investigate. So that's kind of cool. Do they get attacked by Draconians, or are they being attacked by Draconians? There's a bunch of Gricks in here. A pack of 7 Gricks. That's a lot of Gricks. There are Draconians there currently. Okay. And Gricks. Okay, so yeah, it's definitely worth doing this location, I think. It's like a very, very tiny dungeon crawl. It's just the family's Draconia problem. Yeah. Okay, so I like that location. I guess what I don't like about it is where it's located, which again is on the other side of the map. It just feels a little bit of a pain in the ass for the party. So, and plus they'll already have the location of the City of Lost Names by the time they make it here, because they'll get that essentially at the start of the session of K. So it would be nice if, for example, we used, I don't know, this location of Old Bones as the cave or something. Like something that's not too out of their way. But at least like more north rather than south. So I'm thinking I might switch where that is and still use Blue Maw Cave as an adventure location. Carrion Clay discovery. No one in Hearts Hollow knows about Camp Carrion Clay. Okay, so that's important. However, if the characters recover the dragon egg there... Oh, there is a quest. And return to Hearts... I really got to reread Camp Carrion Clay. And return to Hearts Hollow, Ness urgently seeks them out. She pleads for the egg, swearing to keep it safe. She'll even reveal her true nature to the characters. If she needs to convince them, she'll be a worthy guardian, but she won't threaten or harm them. If the characters agree to give her the egg, she warns them with a suit of bronze dragon scale mail made from her own scales. That's so fucking cool. Damn, that's cool. Dragon scale mail. Is this unique to this adventure? Requires attunement. Made of the scales of a kind of dragon. Wearing this armor, you gain +1 bonus to AC, advantage on saving throws against the frightful presence and breath weapons of dragons, and you have resistance to one type of dragon determined by the kind of dragon that provided the scales. Nice. So bronze gives you lightning resistance, which I think is good. Well, I'm trying to think which dragons they fight. Actually, I don't remember. I think Belephon is a blue dragon, so I do think that would really help against him. Because there's a black dragon at the camp. Belephon, I think, is a blue dragon, which is a big boss fight for them. And I believe they have to fight a red dragon near the end. Definitely not getting this campaign without fighting some dragons, damn it. The party's got to be a little bit of a higher level. Actually, that's not true. I think they may end up fighting the black dragon at this level. Maybe. I think they're not supposed to. I think it's supposed to scare the piss out of them. We'll see how effective that is. But that is cool. That's a legit quest. And with a reward. So, does she... How would she know about the egg, though? I'm trying to think if I want her to give them this quest. No one in Hearts Hollow knows about Camp Carrion Clay. That's fine. But maybe she's had an egg stolen and she's looking for it. And she points them out as being like, you know, adventurers and stuff. And she can't afford a lot of time to be searching around. because she doesn't want to bring she really doesn't want to bring any attention to her home here. So imagine if people see a big ass dragon flying around, they'll try to track it home, and that would be here. But maybe she has lost the egg. All right, let's go to Camp Carrying Clay. I don't remember this fucking egg at all. Is that the one they produced to the dragon? Like they just recently capture it? Access spotted. Prisoner cages. I've got the sea elves there. Poor sea elves. We got captured in like 3 different locations. Ooh, I recently captured Balea. That's fun. Hobgoblin Warlords. Civac Draconians. Letter from Baleaphon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, by the way. Baleaphaon? There was probably a thing at the beginning of this adventure that gave me pronunciations that I ignored. Let's see if it's under pronunciation guide. There it is. Let's look at it. Balefian. That's worse than mine. Balefian is what they want to pronounce it. Baleaphon. That mine sounds way better. I'm sorry. I may have to stick to Baleaphon. Balefian is, I don't know. I mean, they're both fine. Let's see. Wings of Death. There it is. Once the characters recover the bronze dragon egg. Where is the bronze dragon egg again? Okay, it's just in the main hut. I-5. Xerox hut. Is the Hobgoblin Warlord in charge of the camp? He rarely leaves it. The hut is guarded by 2 Civac Draconians. The ornate chest. Opening the chest requires either the key held by Xerox or a DC 20. Thieves' Tools check. The chest holds a bronze dragon egg. Will soon be claimed by an envoy of the evil cleric Baleaphon. Balefian. If the characters give the egg to Nezra, she rewards them. Okay. I kind of think this needs to be a quest that they get so that they have any clue that that's out there, something they should look for, and something they can turn back into Heart's Hollow, because I don't think they would realize necessarily any of those things. So she can give them that quest. She won't reveal that she's a dragon, just that there's this precious artifact that they've kept safe here in Heart's Hollow. And she may even cryptically say, you'll know it when you see it. But the party could press her and she would probably maybe even reveal it. It's a dragon egg. It doesn't have to be her dragon egg necessarily. It is, but the party doesn't know that. I do love this scene. Those are when the adult black dragon shows up. Kaviri is likely the first true dragon the characters have encountered. The frightful presence aura, and they're just supposed to literally stealth, and it's just an amazing encounter that could occur while the party is supposed to be like sneaking around this camp, I guess, although it might be full-blown warfare. And he says, at this point in the adventure, the characters aren't prepared to fight Akaviri and should be encouraged to flee. The dragon is proud and believes the adventurers are beneath her, so rather than pursuing them, she uses her acid breath once, then calls for any dragon army troops remaining in the camp to pursue the characters. So I like that it basically tells the DM, like, look, this is supposed to be a really big cinematic moment, but don't treat this like a big boss fight, because a level 7 party, even a fully rested level 7 party that were just fighting a dragon, although they're not going to be fully rested, would be tough as shit for an adult black dragon that's actually running, at its full power, which is, flying around, using its acid breath, etc., etc. Legendary resistance. Now, interestingly enough, this is the pre-good dragons. As I think dragons did get a pretty nice upgrade in the 2024 rules. I don't think they have the perception checks at legendary action anymore, which is fucking dumb. Hopefully they have flyby now. That was the big... They need flyby, man. Action attacks are no joke. Anyway, that's far in the future. Okay, but I do think that needs to be a quest that they actually get in... in Heart's Hollow. Dragon Elf feeding. again, we're going to use this as an encounter they get on the way to Heart's Hollow, so we can kind of skip all that Clystron stuff. Heart's Hollow Scouts. The characters might convince residents of Heart's Hollow, aid them in their travels. Yeah, so there's just not a whole lot of information here, unfortunately. It's not a fully fleshed out town or anything like that. They literally just give you a brief sentence on each of these locations. I mean, gosh, I feel like this mage, Lavender Jaws, which is a fucking amazing name, by the way. Renegade wizard who lives out in the waste. Seems like such an interesting character, and there's nothing about this guy. Nothing about if they can, like, purchase. It does say they can purchase slightly used goods and equipment found in the waste, but I mean, I would probably put up some magic items they could get here, maybe at some high prices. Roan, I guess, escorting Roan back home would give him inspiration. He might, once he witnesses what's being the dragon army and the Dragonels and stuff, he might actually want to keep accompanying the party as their little NPC sidekick that the party loves, which I would be fine with. But he does live in Heart's Hollow, so I guess they could get a inspiration or something for escorting him home, maybe. Clystron guides the characters on their ways. Characters can ignore difficult terrain during traveling to cover double the distance located, which is also true of how Roan works. Although it says Clystron avoids combat in most dangerous situations, whereas I'm treating Roan as much more of a active combatant, I think. But Roan would help them get around. He hasn't been to the Camp Carrying Clay location directly, but he would certainly help them traverse the wastes a lot easier, I think. So that's pretty much the Heart's Hollow location. Not a lot going on, and I would really need to flesh it out, I guess. But anything that I flesh out, I feel like would just be kind of a bullshit side quest thing. So I think I just want to try to concentrate on putting together some fun NPCs, and I don't know. The Renegade Wizard alone, I think, is going to be pretty interesting. So maybe have something down there. Path down to tunnels. I don't think there's any tunnels in there. I feel like the only interesting thing to add would be if these like tunnels had like some monsters in it, and the party was like, hey, can you go clear these monsters for us? We recently had an influx of X kind of creature come up in the mines where we get some resources from, so maybe help us clear those out or something. You know, something doesn't necessarily take the party out of here, but even then I'm not sure that's interesting enough to work. I think all the interesting stuff now is surrounding the dragon army and Camp Carrying Clay, now that we've done this kind of first half of the Northern Waste. Plus, how many sessions has it been that we've been doing this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've spent 5 sessions here. And normally each chapter... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 1, 2, 3, 4. The other chapters in between 4 and 5 sessions. So this one's already going to be way longer than the others. So if we look at one session as being that big Dragonel encounter plus some Heart's Hollow stuff, the next session, they could either go to Blue Maw Cave or go directly to Camp Carrying Clay. And I could see Camp Carrying Clay taking possibly 2 full sessions, I think, depending on how much combat we do there. So you're looking at 3 more sessions. Blue Maw Cave could be a 4th session, and then doing City of Lost Names intro could be a 5th session. So we might have another 5 sessions in this chapter, honestly. So I'm thinking about that, thinking that maybe I don't need to be adding, any kind of extra side quest stuff, in other words, because I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of value there. I think it's okay with just having a location be just kind of a friendly town. And I think that the main things will be the tavern that they can hang out at, the Salt Lick. There's a shop they can get stuff in. Lavender's, I think, will be a really cool mage store where they can maybe buy some potions / some scrolls or other low magic items. I'd come up with what a good kind of table for that would be, maybe to offer the party, as well as just having an interesting character. And then definitely have Nezra the Secret Dragon recognize that they're powerful adventurers, and at least give them some kind of quest about retrieving a special thing that's been stolen from Hearts Hollow, which will be that dragon egg that happens to be the main prize at Camp Carrion Clay that the party has to go all the way in to find, and then be interrupted by an adult black dragon, which would be amazing. And because of that, I don't think we need to have an encounter between Hearts Hollow and Camp Carrion Clay, although there should be another Dragon Army patrol. I should use that table to bolster up my forces there. So maybe that would be a nice call for like survival checks or stealth checks or something as the party tries to approach that location. And then, ooh, I actually have, man, look at Tessa's map says the whole freaking Hearts Hollow like segmented. That's kind of cool. Yeah, there's a Salt Lick Tavern. Wow. That's interesting. This is the first part with the ends odds, I think is what it's called. The fort area, which I don't see us needing. And then is the wizard on here? Yeah. I got distracted by maps. There we go. That's so cool. Just a circular tower type room with like books everywhere and shit. Okay, so we might use some of these maps. Maybe this one and then the tavern or something. I could see us using. But anyway, with the Camp Carrion Clay, maybe using some patrols around it. What's this one? Hearts Hollow. Oh, that could be a map worth using. How is this different than... Oh, this is the one where you meet Clyster and he's being attacked by the spiders. Okay. That's right. When you first meet him, he's like running away from giant spiders or something. Don't think we need to use that one then. Let's look at this one. Getting a lot of ground covered on this crafting session. Okay, so this is the map for Camp Carrion Clay, which is not a big map, although it is a 10-foot square map, so everybody's been subdivided. God, the Civic Draconians are large size. Damn. And there's not nearly as many dudes in here as I was hoping, so I am probably going to have to just drop a bunch of, gosh, soldiers and Draconians and stuff, because what the hell? This should be crawling with dudes. 3 Dragon Army soldiers keep watch from the central tower in area I3. 2 groups of soldiers patrol the camp, each including a Dragon Army officer and 5 Dragon Army soldiers. Okay. 1 group watches the bridge, and the others monitor the interior. So Roll20 doesn't have those just actively on the map, but that is a lot better. 5 soldiers and 1 officer. 1 watching the bridge, just guarding the bridge, and the other monitoring the interior. So there's just one of those patrols wandering around, the other one near the entrance. Oh, the entrance is already guarded by Draconians on the outside, too. Most troops are asleep at night, except for those on the bridge and in the watchtower. Characters can attempt to gain entrance by disguising themselves with magic or the uniforms of soldiers they've defeated. I sincerely hope that's a cool thing to do, because this is a nasty fortress, only like literally 1 entrance. This reminds me, again, of those like Assassin's Creed type bases with the party. You get to see everything, look at the patrols, and figure out your best way of infiltrating. Camp's only gate is watched by a Civac Draconian and 2 Boz Draconians, which... If you recall, I think I used a Civac Draconian during the climax of We'll Watch Outpost, who murdered the Mayor Raven NPC. I think it was a Civac, because the Civac can kill people and then assume their form. Yeah, shape theft. So I could have him be here, although this one actually uses several Civac Draconians now that I look at it, rather than just one as like a mini-boss. Or use him later on in the campaign, maybe. Watch tasked by 3 soldiers. Prisoner cages are guarded by 3 Boz Draconians and Urta, a hobgoblin captain who serves as a jailer. Is that still a stat block that exists? Goblin captain. Hobgoblin warrior. Yeah, Hobgoblin Cat. Oh, yeah, is that the one that has the cool aura that buffs Everybody? Yeah, R of Authority. It's amazing. Want a 10-foot emanation originating from the Hobgoblin. The Hobgoblin has allies of advantage on attack rolls and saving throws. Huge, although 10 feet is not big. But that's very cool. Cages contain 3 sea elves. Others in the group, including the Urker, will take you to someplace called the Sunward Fortress. The sea elves know this name and not where it is. Okay, so that's just the last of the prisoners, I guess. One cage holds a recently captured belay. It's hostile to everyone. That's fun. That's very fun. If freed, it goes on a rampage, attacking anyone and retreating into the ground once reduced 15 hit points or fewer. Fantastic. Amazing. Love it. No notes. Love to add a bit of chaos into it. One cage houses Kenna, a Kender skirmisher with 1 hit point and no weapons. Oh, she's from Heart's Hollow and was captured while scavenging the waste. Man. I wonder if that can also be a quest then. We've had reports of at least one of our deer. Didn't say who she is. Just a Kender while scavenging the wastes. Maybe if they go to the store, he can mention the fact that one of his best scavengers hasn't returned in a while. It happens to be that both the side quests they get from Heart's Hollow end up coming from Camp Carrying Clay. The party doesn't realize that. Okay, and then it's just the hut. Guarded by 2 Civac Draconians, which is fucking sick, by the way. These guys, like I said, I used one earlier as like a cinematic mini-boss, and now I'm supposed to use 3 of them as one location? Damn. They're really wanting the party to just do this stealthily, because this is pretty nuts. This is going to be so crazy to run. Desk is covered in Dragon Army reports. Character searches the desk, finds letters from a Kenner named Belefian, talking about excavating the Sunward Fortress, so that lines up. But Belefian is not here, is he? He is in the City of Lost Names, I believe. They fight him, I think, at the end of that chapter. And the Bronze Dragon Egg can be found there. Also 2 potions of greater healing. It's pretty nice. 300 GP. And the Adult Black Dragon. Retrieving the Dragon Egg for Belefian. So, is he supposed to grab the egg and then take it to the City of Lost Names, I guess? Because I think that's where Belefian is. That'll be an amazing moment. Although, even on this map, unfortunately, the Adult Black Dragon doesn't look that big, just because it's one of those subdivided maps. Oh yeah, I was going to look and see. I assume Adult Black Dragon has a way better stat block these days. Probably better token art, too. Yeah. I like both, actually. I think it helps that it looks, the dragons now look more distinct versus just like different color swaps. Yeah, it's got spellcasting back. I love it. Dragon makes 3 rend attacks and replaces 1 attack with the use of Melf's Acid Arrow. Fabulous. Also has Vitrolic Sphere. Legendary actions includes its Frightful Presence that it can use to cast the Fear spell. It can pounce, move to half its speed, make a rend attack, or summon a cloud of insects. Fucking amazing. God, the dragons are so much better now. Still doesn't have the flyby feature, which I miss, because it's got a fly speed of 80 feet. But that's awesome. Definitely don't want to fight this thing. But I can have a lot of fun with it still. And they give it slightly more hit points. Or is that my macro give me more hit points? Yeah, I think it's my macro. Just lands in the middle of the field. Still wish it was bigger, though. I don't know. I picture a dragon, like an actual dragon, taking up like a third of this camp or something. But on the token, it's just the huge size. And the huge size doesn't look that big when it's subdivided tokens. I guess a person's token, though, is only going to be like that big. So to see a dragon still, that'd be pretty nice. But if we're zoomed in, it'll still look kind of impressive, I guess. It's like the size of the watchtower. It's the size of a large tent. I thought it'd be bigger. Oh well, Adult Black Dragon's still fun. So yeah, I think that's what we're and honestly, what I've just been talking about is several sessions worth of content. I think because Camp Carrying Clay, which I'm not going to fully prep right now, but has a ton of content going on. It's a huge, important adventure location where they fight a bunch of Dragon Army guys. There should be a patrol outside. I think it's going to be a nasty place where technically this is all optional. Like the main quest is just to go to the City of Lost Names. Like that's it. And they're going to have that location at the start of this coming session. Everything else they do is just optional stuff. But I notice how it's all on the way, which is convenient and nice. And it's all like, it feels more main questy. Because like Arts Hollow is a town, like it's always a good place to check in at. They'll get some more. They'll get basically 2 quests that will end up getting solved at Camp Carrying Clay, and then 1 in a new adventure location, which I'm thinking I will move this location of the locked placement. Blue Maw Cave. We'll put that like up here somewhere. So that'll be less of a pain in the ass to get to. So they'll have all that, and then Camp Carrying Clay is just a really important location because it's the Dragon Army encampment, and that's, you know, huge to deal them a blow and free the other elves, which is something they're working on. Once they, you know, actually see a dragon, they're like, oh shit, and then once they can get the dragon egg, hopefully they can recover it, bring that back to Hearts Hollow, they can turn that quest in, which will be great. And then I think that will basically conclude our, you know, Chapter 5 section, and then we can move on to the Chapter 6, although I believe what I haven't prepped yet is them actually doing that final little section of getting to the City of Lost Names. I believe they have to go through a cave, and then I think there's like a dragon army. Basically, the dragon army is like camped outside of the City of Lost Names, and the party has to like punch through it using the Calaman army to get there. And it's supposed to be this big, like crazy cinematic, awesome big moment. So that will also be a crazy thing to have to prep for. I think in terms of this coming session, again, assuming we go to Hearts Hollow, I think I'm going to prep that one big encounter using, I think, this one Tessa Presents map of the Dragonel Spire, which is... Which one was that? This one. And we're going to combine this location with a Dragon Army patrol and have the Dragon Army patrol actually subduing and capturing Dragonels to turn into mounts for their army. And the party can come across that and then, you know, hopefully choose to disrupt it, basically. Roan will be very fervent about, he's a big fan of the Dragonels. But we can use the Dragonels as this kind of wild card because they would be pretty hostile and scared and territorial and definitely attacking everybody in range. The party won't want to attack them and just focus on the Dragon Army soldiers and then, you know, try to get away or something. So I think that could be a really cool encounter for them. We are going to run into the problem where it's just kind of have to be a one encounter for this long rest thing, but oh well, it just happens to be the way this time. Assuming they do that and then they move on to Hearts Hollow where they can again talk to some folks, get some minor quests, and then next time we'll probably, presumably, figure out how to run Camp Carrying Clay and go from there. But I'm excited about it. I think we've got a plan for the rest of our sessions for Chapter 5, but I do think it's going to take us a solid, like, gosh, easily 4 or 5 more sessions, if not more, to actually get through this chapter. It's just a massive, massive kind of semi-open world hex crawl chapter section that I do like. I enjoy. And notice how I'm actually using like most of these locations, most of these adventure locations, which should tell you that I've fairly impressed with them and basically like all of them. In fact, the only ones we're not really using are the 2 that don't have maps, which I actually am using. One of them, Dragonel Spire, I'm just using it as an encounter, combining that with something else. But I guess the only one I'm really gonna skip is Dreadwolf Cove. So good stuff. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining me for this crafting session. And, of course, thank you to all the patrons for making these streams happen. Shoutouts to Platinum patrons, Joe, Will, Thomas, Brandon, Genocide, Roleplay, Roll, Christopher, Big Nut, John, Nathan, Andrew, Stephanie, Jason, Lemmy Spuds, Wardy Mill, Seat, Tom the Dean Dogs, Marcus, Hugo, Sasha, John, Jealous Guy, Zim, Jesse, Dante, How about Demnix, Chris, Robert, and Chris H. And gold patrons, RPG, Papercrafts, Pretty Boy, and Yuma, Dead Lizard Lounge, Jerome, Nathan, Scott, Rufus, Jerry, Glenn, and Mark. Thank you all very much for your support. We'll see you for the patron game on Thursday, if you're a player, in which case you're not listening to this, or I'll see the rest of you for Thursday for crafting the Golden Ball.